We have never not used leather in all our endeavours. Here at the National Leather Collection in Northampton, we have over 10,000 objects that tell the most remarkable stories of mankind's endeavour with this unique material. My name's Philip, I'm the curator here at the National Leather Collection, and I hope you'll enjoy this wonderful journey that I'm going to take you on, the stories that I'm going to tell you, all about the world story of leather. Okay, we're going to start this journey with a piece of skin. And here is a tiny sliver of belly skin from a human being that walked around nearly 2,000 years ago. This is part of Tolland Man. Tolland Man was one of the most remarkable archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. He was a sacrificial victim found with a garrote still around his neck, perfectly preserved, in a peat bog in Denmark in the 1950s. If we look at it under a microscope, we can still see the tiny little bits of sphagnum moss clinging to this from the peat bog where this poor chap was sacrificed. So why am I talking to you about his skin? Well, his skin is now leather. This corium, this collagen that covers every human being, you can naturally turn it into leather. And this tiny little sliver of his body skin is a perfect example of where all leather comes from, because leather is skin. Your skin, my skin, any human being, any living creature that has skin, that skin can be turned into leather. If it just so happens that you're thrown into a peat bog 2,000 years ago, the natural acids in the peat, the anaerobic conditions will perfectly preserve your outer layer. And that perfectly preserved outer layer is everything that we have been putting leather to use for ever since. Tolland Man is such a wonderful story. He's so perfectly preserved by the peat bog that he was thrown into that we know what his last meal was. We still know the ligature around his neck. We can see the rope that potentially killed him. But through the perfect preservation of his skin, through the creation of this leather, we have wonderful insights into Iron Age civilization. Hi there. Today I want to talk to you about this wonderful object. It's made of leather, it's made of camel, but not the bit of the camel that you might expect. It's actually made from a camel's bladder. Because you see, the thing is, leather is a protein called collagen, and it doesn't just occur on the outside of animals, it occurs in our tummies, in our bladders, in our stomachs, and humans have been making wonderful objects out of all of these natural resources for many years. This dates to the middle of the 19th century. It comes from Pakistan in the Punjab, and it's a decorative vase that is made from a single camel's bladder that has been formed around, it's been filled with wet sand, and then that wet sand has been moulded and formed to make this wonderful decorative vase that's then been beautifully painted. Once obviously the bladder's dried, it dries solid, and it's a wonderful and unusual object and part of the world story of leather. Hi there, today I'm reporting to you from one of the storerooms here at the National Leather Collection, and in this dark and gloomy environment I have a dark and gloomy story to tell you. Here we have the rules of cockfighting as laid down for carrying out the procedures of St James's Park Pit in London in the 1750s. A completely abhorrent tradition that I'm so glad has been outlawed. But here nonetheless, 250 years ago, as an example of leather being used. The little implements that the cockerels would have been forced to wear on their legs, the spurs, are all taped with leather. The leather hoods that they would have used to keep them blind until they were ready to actually fight are all preserved here along with the actual original rules. A dark and macabre story from our archives, but one of the thousands of stories of the world story of leather that we have to tell here. Thank you. Balls. Today I want to talk to you about leather in sport. to show you 3 different balls from 3 different sports, 3 different centuries, produced in 3 different ways. This little golf ball here, beautifully stitched, is alum tawed cowhide. Alum is a mineral, and it's a way of preparing the leather, dressing it with this beautiful mineral salt. This is a 21st century cricket ball. It's chrome tanned, it's another mineral, a different kind of mineral. Chromium tanned leather is the most prevalent across the world these days. This red stitched cricket ball from Australia is the kind of ball that the Aussies have been beating us up with for centuries now. And finally, we have a football. This is a vegetable tanned cowhide football, stitched from about 1960, the sort of era when we won the World Cup. We were kicking around these types of balls. Veg tanned is when you treat the leather using natural materials like oak barks that are rich in those acidic tannings, a bit like you get in a cup of tea, the dark brown stuff in a cup of tea. 3 balls, 3 sports, 3 different tannages of leather. Leather is truly everywhere. Hi there, today I want to talk to you about a case. This beautiful reliquary case here was made in France in the 13th or 14th centuries. It's a limewood box covered in shaved hide that's been exquisitely decorated in sized work, and you can see this image of the Madonna and Child on the front of it. We assume it's a reliquary case because of its religious symbolism and the fact that it dates to a time when traditionally monasteries were producing these ornate objects. As a reliquary, it would have been a very important object that was in this box, hence the attention to detail. Who made this? Which manuscript or what inspired this decoration? There's so many questions that need to be discovered about this object, and yet it is a part of this wonderful story of what mankind has put leather to using since the dawn of time. Hi there, today I want to talk to you about a technique called Spanish leather. As the name suggests, it was a technique that was championed by the Spanish for about 900 years, although they actually borrowed the techniques from the ancient Egyptians. It's a way of dressing leather and making it into beautiful wall hangings that adorned some of the richest elaborate palaces in Europe. It was a style that was popular from the 16th and 17th centuries, but died out when wallpaper took over in the 18th century. Leather is a really good material for hanging on your walls. It insulates, it protects against bugs and beasties, and you can clean it off very easily. It was a popular choice throughout Central and Northern Europe for over 200 years. And the craftsmen employed in decorating these wonderful palaces spared no expense. This one here is a beautiful example of the elaborate decoration that you can achieve. Gilding, painting, embossing and stamping all create an amazing backdrop to your palace. We've got hundreds of examples of these Spanish leather panels in our collection here at the National Leather Collection. And it's just one of the many uses that leather has been put to throughout the centuries. Hi there. Today, I want to talk to you about steering wheels. This one, covered in cowhide, beautifully stitched, was made by the Scottish Leather Group and provided to the Jaguar Land Rover factory in Gaydon to use on their F-Type sports car. It's one highly engineered precision instrument, beautiful to touch. Just to put it into context, we've used leather on steering wheels for hundreds of years of automotive history. Right now there are over 1 billion cars driving around this planet. In the UK alone, there's probably 25 to 26 million cars registered. We've always used leather on the steering wheels, sometimes on the interiors. It's the durability, the ease of cleaning, the fact that it just gets better with age that means it's the choice of the highest performance cars. This is just another fine example of this world story of leather. the modern chapter in the continuing saga of how we use this amazing material. Hi there, today I want to talk to you about leather chemistry. The Worshipful Company of Leather Sellers established a technical college teaching these processes way back in 1900 in London, and they still support that technical education in leather to this very day at the university here in Northampton. It's an amazing story. Hiding behind the leather material, you've got the processes, the tannings, even the animal husbandry, how to keep hides and skins as cared for whilst the animals are alive. All of that can be seen behind me here, from the oak barks, the galls, the various natural materials that have been used in tanning processes that are available in various locations all around the world, right through to the common pests and bugs, ticks and fleas that can damage the hides and skins of animals. The leather industry has been pioneering research, championing good practice in all of these fields for hundreds of years now. It's part of the hidden story of this amazing industry, and one that this museum really does want to shout a bit louder about. Today, modern tanneries are bastions of pioneering work into environmental controls, into self-sustainability, into renewable energies, and it's part of the story that really needs to come to the fore in the future. Thanks for listening. Hi there. Today I want to talk to you about horses and harnesses. It's been a mainstay of the leather industry for centuries. To give you some context, in London, in about 1900, there were over 11,000 hackney carriages that required over 50,000 horses to pull them all around the central square mile. The amount of leather that went into the harnesses, bridles, saddles, it's just phenomenal. Although horse riding is on the decline, over 1 million people still regularly ride in the UK alone. Our museum tells the story of the evolution of the saddle for hundreds of years. If you want to find out more about saddlery and harnessing in particular, I would recommend that you check out the Walsall Museum of Leather, which is an amazing resource on that particular topic. But as well as talking about the saddles and the harnesses, we also focus on the craftsmanship and the skills that go into making them. And I want to show you today this amazing bridle. We acquired it, it's a contemporary piece made about 20 years ago by a master saddler called Lucy Batchelor. She now works over in the USA. It's an absolute triumph of the craft. The attention to detail, the hours she's poured into this, the recessing of the stitching, the quality of the finishing, it's just an absolute triumph. And our museum really focuses on this as well. We're not just a museum about the past, we're about celebrating craftsmanship, keeping these skills alive in the present. So if you want to come along and have a go at what it feels like to do some saddle stitching, to get some comprehension of the amount of effort that it takes to produce something as exquisite as this functional horse bridle, do seek us out in Northampton. Thanks for watching. Hi there. In this, the last of the series from the National Leather Collection, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the challenges that we face moving forward. These wonderful objects, all 10,000 of them, need a huge amount of care. The right environmental controls, acid-free boxes, real thought about how we handle and move them. Despite all our best efforts, however, sometimes leather just simply doesn't last the course. There's a nasty disease in the industry known as red rot, where items like this Gladstone bag here just begin to disintegrate, to powder away. We think it might be caused by improper tanning methods, too much or too little in the process, but no one quite knows. It's one of many challenges that face us as we handle this collection regularly and give access to it to the public. Above and beyond all the things, we want it to be an engaging and interesting story for many years to come. Thanks for watching this series on the National Leather Collection. There are many stories to be explored. Do come and see us here in Northampton. We'd only be too happy to share our treasures with you. Look forward to seeing you soon.